Welcome to Sacramento Koi's 2021 Koi unboxing video. Last year we filmed for the first time the arrival of our new koi as we purchased from Japan, and as it turned out that video became very popular. So logically we decided that in 2021 we'd do the same. But this year's experience turned out to be completely different from last year's. Due to the transportation crisis caused by the COVID virus, instead of receiving our koi shipment the first week of November, our shipment was delayed by almost 6 weeks until December 13th. And wouldn't you know it, California has been in a serious drought for almost 2 years, but the day we needed to travel to San Francisco Airport to pick up our koi, it poured rain all day long. That, coupled with the days getting shorter, we ended up unpacking our new koi not only in the rain, but also in the dark. But I'm happy to say we made it. So with that being said, let the fun begin. First up, Fukasawa Koi Farm. What you're going to notice throughout this video is that what we first do is take the fish when they come from the airport, set them in their pond, let the temperature stabilize, and then we take it from there and put it in this first bucket as you've seen there. And what that is, we cut the bag and release all the nasty water, and now we set them in this bucket of fresh water. This gives a little transition period for the fish before we put them in the pond, but it also gives us an opportunity to examine them carefully to make sure there's any defects or flaws that we hadn't seen earlier. For instance, this fish here had an anchorworm attached to it. The breeder already removed the anchorworm, but there's a little sore there. But we know for a fact within 3 weeks to a month that sore will be completely healed up, so we're not worried about that. Here we have a nice showa, kind of an unusual pattern. When we first saw it, I wasn't quite sure about it, but now that we got it back, looking at the quality of the fish is really great, and we love the conformation and everything about this fish. We'd like to mention that all the koi you see today in this video will be going through a strict 4-month quarantine program. We keep each breeder's koi separate in their own ponds with its own filter system, nets, buckets, and water testing kits, and all this in an effort to prevent any possible cross-contamination. KHV is a temperature-sensitive virus, meaning that it can remain dormant for long periods of time, only to become active once the water reaches a specific temperature, namely 62 degrees Fahrenheit for koi. For that reason, each breeder's koi will be heated to 68 degrees Fahrenheit for this whole quarantine period to make sure none of these koi are harboring that dreaded KHV virus. Here we have a beautiful Deutsch Kujaku. It's got a very dominant pattern. Again, we just love this fish. We saw it in the video overseas, and now we see it in real life. It's even better than we thought it would be.
Gorgeous. She's as cool a person as we thought she'd be. Yeah. Go with it.
This is an Igoromo. This is a Matsu Karabaki. This fish oftentimes, as they get in the harder water in the United States, the black grows a lot more. And also we have a Tancho Kuhaku here, and he's had a couple little anchorworms removed from him also. This is a Ginrin Benigoi. We really like this fish because the head is so clean. Just nice and clear. Oftentimes these fish are susceptible to having little black spots on them or simi, but this one has none. This is the Tancho Sanki. Very unusual pattern in the sense that it's got black coming through on the head a little bit there, and it's got the stripes on the fins. Now Sankis can have stripes on the fins. Showas will normally have the Motoguri, which is a more prominent black right at the fin knuckle area there. But real nice fish.
There's only one
This is a kujaku that we just saw. We fell in love with it. What I particularly loved was the pattern, especially on the head. It just jumps out at you. The one thing I noticed is it would be nice if the reticulation of the scales on the he area, the red area, was a little deeper defined, but that may come as the fish gets older. But again, what I just loved was when he comes straight at you, look at that. That pattern on the head is just striking.
Hey, you're free.
Now, each time before we move on to unboxing the next breeder's koi, we will need to break down our whole setup and thoroughly sterilize everything, including the tubs, nets, aprons, and our hands. This is time-consuming, but in today's world, with all the diseases present in the koi industry, this procedure is no longer optional. Next up, Kaneko Koi Farm. So here we have two Tancho Kujakus and also two scaled Tancho Hirawakis. Next we have a beautiful Kujako and also a Tancho Goshiki. I like the Kujako with the spots over his eyes. It's cute. So here we have a Kujaku. We've got two Kikasuis, also a Kuhaku, and then this Ginrin Matsu Karabaki, which is just beautiful, very unique pattern. And then finally a Deutsch Kujaku. Okay, here we have a Beni Kikokuru, a Kikasui, a scaled orange Hirawaki, another Kikasui, a Deutsch Kujaku, and a Ginrin Shiratsuri. Okay, we have here a Kuhaku, a Kikasui, a Kujaku, an Igoromo, and finally a beautiful Beni Kikokuru. And finally the last bucket for here is a Desurgoi, a Beni Kikokuru, a Yamabuki Ogan, an Ochiba, and a Kikasui.
And then, hey Alex, hold up and running them back for a second. Good.
So once we viewed the fish, we go ahead and net them up. I hand them to Alex. His job is to weather the rain out there, and he takes them back to the appropriate pond and puts them in there. Now we're going to go ahead and we'll move on to Sakazumi Koi Farm. Now this is a new farm for us. We hadn't been here before, and we widened out to 3 new different breeders this year we hadn't gone to before, because with our pre-order program, we're getting a lot of orders for fish, and because the breeders aren't harvesting all their fish like they used to because of the COVID virus and not very many dealers coming over, the selection was limited. So we reached out to this breeder because he's he makes some beautiful Yamabuki ogons, and here's an example of 5 of them. And we enjoyed those so much we went ahead and got another box of 5 more. Next up is Suna Koi Farm. And again, this was a new breeder for us. We've never purchased from him before. This is, again, in our efforts to fill some of the pre-order that we had. We had so many this year that we went to him because we heard he specializes in Kinki Utsuris. So we start off with a box of these. These are about 13 inches each. We looked at them, we were just impressed with the color and the quality. I mean, the yellow was remarkably yellow on these, and we really enjoyed them. So we went ahead and asked him, do you have any larger ones? And so we found he selected 2 of these. These are 23 inches each. And again, it's just very nice quality. We're really happy with them. We also found out that he specializes in Doitsu fish too. In fact, we found this nice Tancho Sanki, and there's also a Doitsu Sanki. The Tancho Sanki, the Doitsu, sometimes they have the larger scales along the side, and those are really susceptible to being damaged while handling. And so this one had some, but that'll heal up fine. And here's another beautiful Doitsu Sanki, along with a Doitsu Kujaku. And I like particularly on this Sanki how almost all of the black is on the white. It's just a very attractive pattern. And again, we were so happy before we left there, we went ahead and bought 1 more box of the Kinki Utsuris, just because of the quality was so nice. Okay, next is Yamasan Koi Farm. We've been dealing with Manabu and his father for over 20 years, buying fish from him. In fact, we bought with his father to begin with, and then finally we're dealing with Manabu. And what a charming young man he is. And we buy more fish every year from this farm than any other farm. And these fish here, these are what we affectionately call our bread and butter fish. They're usually 13 to 16 inches long, and they're all 2-year-old fish. And we sell those typically from $250 to $400 each. I love that Kujaku in the middle of the pond, the bucket there. He's just, the white is so white, and he's around the top now. It's just, but the white makes that fish. Later in the video, during the second shipment, we'll see all the larger fish we bought from Yamasan. We see the black fish in this bucket here is a Hajaro. This second bucket here, we've got a longfin Hajaro, which we don't see those very often, but kind of interesting fish with the lighter colored fins. But also the pattern on this lemon Hirawaki right in the middle is striking. This Ginrin Hiyatsuri here, the Ginrin is just so prominent in it, and the pattern, the black is so deep. Very attractive fish. The one very unusual fish in this bucket is this long-fin Ginrin yellow Kujaku. Again, just a fascinating fish. Look at the quality of that fish. On this Showa here, this has got a real future. Look at how bold and striking the colors are on that. We also have 2 Gin Shiro Yutsuris in there.
Is there a chance that a lot of that black will just continue to go?
If you look closely in this bucket, you'll notice that platinum ogon is scaleless. It's a Doitsu platinum ogon. This spotted pattern on this kujaku I just found very fascinating. If you notice at the bottom of the bucket there. I find the pattern on this Beni Kikokuru in the middle of the bucket very nice. But also, if you look at the top, there's a Ginrin scaled Hirawaki. So it's like a lemon Hirawaki except it's scaled. The unusual fish here on the right hand side is a Doitsu Goromo. In this bucket we have this, first is Doitsu Sanki, but also there's a longfin Ginrin Hujaro. That's the black-white fish toward the bottom of the tank there.
Oh, that one is so cool.
And also if you look closely you'll see a longfin Kuhaku in this bucket too.
Yeah. Have some royalty-free music and then just interspersed with your sayings about these fish.
Now we're going to move over to Marahiro Koi Farm. He breeds some magnificent koi. This tank here is just amazing of these big fish that he develops. Time was kind of limited. It was the end of the day. It was kind of starting to get dark, and so we didn't have much time to shop with him. But we did get these 4 fish from him. That just shows you the quality of fish he develops. We have a Ginrin Kiyotsuri, and then we also have in the bucket 2 just Kiyotsuris, and then there's also a Ginrin Showa. But again, unfortunately, it was the end of the day and we didn't get a chance to get back to his farm later on in the week, so this is all we got from him. Very nice. Okay. Okay, you got done. So now we're going to move on to Hosakai Koi Farm. From Hosakai we purchased a number of Ginrin Kuhakus and Shiritsuris. This is the second year in a row that Japan has not allowed any foreigners into the country because of the virus. So we were forced to purchase koi remotely. For 10 days in a row, Suto, our broker in Japan for now close to 20 years, would call us at 5 o'clock in the evening, which was 9 a.m. in Japan time, and through an app called WhatsApp, Suto would send us videos of koi for us to view, and we would text back which ones we wanted. We relied heavily on Suto's judgment of the quality of each koi, and he proved to be extremely helpful. So you need to realize how fun this is for us, because we're seeing these koi up close for the very first time, and we're very, very pleased with what we're seeing. So now we're moving to Otsuka Koi Farm, and we purchased him for a number of years. And, we appreciate his prices always tend to be a little higher than others, but no one can question the quality of his koi. So we're usually very careful about what we purchase from him. But for instance, we caught these 4 benigois, and the quality is just beautiful. The heads are clean. There's no simi on them anywhere. They're just beautiful examples of a benigoi. Also, he puts out some beautiful Ginrin Chagois, and we've found in the past that we can never have too many Ginrin Chagois. They're very popular fish. They're flashy, they're extremely friendly. These are the kind of fish where you put 1 or 2 in your pond, and in no time they're up eating out of your hand, and they'll teach the other fish to come up and eat and become more friendly too. So we went ahead and got another bucket of some more Ginrin Chagois. We found a beautiful example of a Ginrin benigoi, and then also we found this Kimatsuba. Now we're going to Ikarashi Koi Farm. Ikarashi breeds a real large variety of different koi. And here we see the present owner and the future owner of Ikarashi Koi Farm. And here we have a tub of, we have a Shisui, then a Beni Kumenru, a Genrin Ginga. In fact, we got two of those. And then finally an Ochiba. We found this beautiful 23-inch Koshiki. We couldn't pass it. We just loved the quality of the fish. And what a striking, powerful pattern. So we got a Goshiki in here, and a Kuhaku, a Beni Kumenru, a Deutsch Kujaku, a Ken Kikokuro, and a Genrin Surigoi.
What does it mean?
And then we got a bucket of 3 of the Yamabuki or yellow ogons, a Genrin Ochiba, and a Ken Kikokuro. This 24-inch Asagi, it just took our breath away. When you look at this fish, what you want with an Asagi is a nice pattern down the middle of the back, but if the red is balanced, then you look at the red on the face and on the fins, and even that little dot of red at the back tail just makes this fish perfect. And finally we've actually called the twins. There's 2 yellow Kujakus, 20 inches long, and we put them in a bucket and said, which one do you want? We said we'd take them both. So now we're unboxing the Amazon Koi Farm, and these are his 3 to 4 year old fish.
Just the red one.
So first we're starting off with this beautiful Genrin Hiyatsuri. Got a beautiful conformation and just a fun fish to look at. I like the way the fins match. And here we have a Deutsch Lemon Hirawaki. We have a Gin Matsuba and an Ochiba. Here's a Genrin Ochiba with a very attractive pattern. This is a very unusual fish. This is a long-fin Genrin Pajaro. But it's pretty. The head is so clean and the white is white.
Cool, the fins match, everything matches. Nice pattern. Just leave that one for a minute.
Here's a nice Kikasui with a fun pattern. And here's a nice platinum ogon. Here's a Ginrin Matsu Karabaki.
Well, there's a couple of kinks in it.
And gee, the white is so white and it's clean. And usually in the United States, we get it back here, the black tends to increase. So we're hoping the black will come up on this fish even more.
Okay, and now the it's a soft color.
Here's a Ginrin Ochiba.
In terms of the light.
It's pretty patterned with the button nose.
Yeah, see, so, yeah.
The Ginrin shows up really nicely too.
Yeah. So,
Okay, here's a longfin Yamabuki Ogon.
just which one is
And here's a great Showa. I like the fact that the white is so white, even on the head. Just a nice quality Showa, and the Mutaguri on the fins matches.
Light is very strong, yeah.
Neat fish.
You almost passed on this one?
No, well,
Here's a
yeah,
Beni
it was,
Kikokuro.
It was expensive, and we weren't sure in our water what was going to happen, and so he said, well, let's hold off on it. We bought some, and finally he said, well, we got room for one more in this spot.
Here's a Ginrin Shiratsuri.
I can get
Nice
it
fish
all
in the sense that the white is really white on this fish.
Surprisingly, the white on it's really good, even with the shipment process.
Yeah.
She's active too, so. So move the Benny over, the gray and, yeah.
Here's another Beni Kikokuro. Pretty face. Here's a fun Asagi. It's got a beautiful pattern. If you got more red than usual, but what's nice is that the red is so much symmetrical, the head is real clean, the red taken over the nose. It just, I guess it's the symmetry of this fish that makes it so nice.
Bruiser.
Okay, here's a very unusual fish. To date, we have never seen one of these before. It's a 24-inch longfin Doitsu metallic Chagoi. Just very unusual.
I'll have to double check and get it. But it almost looks like a scaled, oh, scale it.
Here's a Yamabuki Ogon with great conformation, nice full-bodied, and the scalation is just very attractive going down the whole length of the body.
Really clean.
Full body female.
Yeah, real clean.
No. That was
And here's a Deutz Kuhaku.
the replacement one?
Oh, that's right.
It's got a little bit of black semi on him. You see a couple little black spots, unfortunately. Here's a fish that we fell in love with. This is a Kujaku Sanki. It's a combination of a Kujaku and a Sanki. And you notice the Kujaku pattern, but you see the black splotches coming back and forth. Again,
So this one.
very unique. We've never seen one of these before.
You see the black spots?
Pretty face.
That is a cool fish.
At first I thought it was messy, but that's actually really cool looking.
Yeah. And
Very consistent.
a beautiful face. Look at the little, I mean, the face is
And here's a Ginrin Shiro Yasuri with a very striking pattern. And you look at that head and it's just, it's really great when he's coming straight at you, you get to see that.
very unusual too. Boy,
The face is striking.
yeah.
And here's a kikasui. And I guess what I like about this fish is the white is so white on this fish. It makes the he really stand out. And here's a kinkiatsuri.
Real nice quality. Probably a male, but the fins match beautifully. Nice exact pattern.
Here's another nice showa.
Very nice.
Again, love the quality of this fish. The white's white, the red's red. Usually when you come into harder water, the black will tend to come up and fill out even more. And then here's a light goshiki. The reticulation is very light colored. When the water gets harder, it tends to come up more, but just a fun pattern. Next, we're going to go to Nagashi Koi Farm. This is only the second time we've ever purchased from him. The reason is it's a 2-hour drive southwest of Niigata, so it really takes an all-day event to visit and buy from him. But both times we purchased from him, it sure proved to be worth it. We've got this asagi, for instance. We enjoy this asagi. We like to buy them light, so the scales on the back are not completely developed yet, because when we bring them, at least to California, get them in harder water, oftentimes they get too dark. But I love the long lateral lines, how strong the red is on the bottom, both sides. And the fins match. It's a very attractive asagi with a clean head.
Okay.
And here's a beautiful 24-inch Yamabuki ogan. It's got the nice scalation going back, the beautiful fins on it. Really enjoyed this fish.
This is about as nice as they get. And we got, I think, 2 of these.
Now here's the Makashi ogan. What's interesting, this is the predecessor to the Yamabuki ogan. If you'll notice, the Yamabuki ogan tend to be a little bit more intense. This has a slight, almost a gray undertone to the skin, everything. And so you see it's the Magashi ogans were kind of a metallic color. Where now, compared to this, here's another 24-inch Yamabuki ogan. And notice how intense the yellow is without a hint of gray in it. And they're both beautiful fish in their own right.
You gotta say, Nagoshi puts out a nice fish.
Here's a Sanki, a Deutsch Showa, a Kin Showa, and a Ginrin metallic Ochiba.
I'm concerned about the quality because these are a little bit more expensive. But, gosh, the quality is beautiful.
Again, here's another bucket of 4 fish. There are 2 shiratsuris, 1 Igoromo, and 1 yellow kujaku.
Now, what would you call that, Jeff?
I really enjoyed this fish. As soon as I saw it, I thought, man, what's that going to cost me? It's a Ginrin kawarigoi. And a kawarigoi is basically, it's a term they use to apply to a koi that cannot be classified into any other of the standard koi types. So it's kind of a new fish that he's developing. And we're thinking about, if the head turns black on this, completely black, can you imagine how striking that fish is going to be?
It shows up well on camera. Nice.
Now here's the fish that took my breath away. Again, this is the Kawari Matsuba. And again, it doesn't fit in any standard koi types because of the yellow on the scalation. But The scales are so clean. It's white. It's a big, full-bodied fish, but with that yellow on it, again, I just fell in love with it. So this koi is not for sale right now. It's going to go into my private pond. I'm going to enjoy it for a while, but it may come up later for sale at a later date. But again, first one of these I've ever seen. And finally, we have this 25-inch kuhaku. It's just strikingly beautiful. I love the clean white head. It's so clean, and it's got a great pattern. It's just a joy to look at.
It looked good. I couldn't tell. We couldn't get a good photo of the shape. Look how.
So next we're moving on to Yagenji Koi Farm. Now this is a new breeder for us this year because we're reaching out to these new breeders in an effort to fill the nearly 300 koi pre-ordered that we received. We only got 5 koi from him, but watch what we got. Here's this 25-inch Akamatsuba. We were blown away by this fish. Look at the reticulation on this fish. How uniform and how bold it is.
What is this?
It's just perfect. And he's got a really clean head with matching fins and very enjoyable fish. And then we also found 2 metallic kuhakus from him. And what we enjoyed about the metallic kuhakus is the white is so white on a metallic fish. And it really makes the he or the red stand out.
I'll check my record, but yeah, it might be something different.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. I think he actually just.
We found this kujaku. I guess what we love so much about it is that you look at the quality, you look at the reticulation on this fish, how through the he and on the body and everything, it's so nice and uniform. Plus, it's just a really cute pattern.
The pattern is really nice.
And then we found this fish here. This is the largest koi that we've ever imported directly from Japan. It's 28 inches long. We have some bigger ones in stock that we've grown out, but this was the largest we actually brought in. It's a Doitsu Karashi koi.
Can't even turn around the bucket.
In fact, I was trying to move it over, and it being scaleless and so slippery, I said, "Oh, forget it. Let's just use a net." I didn't want to take a chance of injuring this fish. So again, as we looked at this fish, we looked it over, and we were just amazed by the quality. The fact is that the saturation in the skin color is so nice and intense. It's got these beautiful matching fins. I mean, the fins really make this fish. And the pattern of matching scales down the middle of the back, the fact that they mirror each other, is so attractive. It's a great fish. He's got these 2 little scales right on the shoulder that just add a little class to him. But what's interesting is Karashi kois are famous for getting very large. And when you look at this fish now at 28 inches, you can imagine how big this girl is going to be in 3 or 4 more years.
So how many inches do you think?
71 centimeters. So.
But now we're going to approach our last breeder of this trip, and that was Marasaka Koi Farm. And we bought fish from him for nearly 7 years now. And it's really nice. It's a father-son operation here, but they're very nice people to work with. What's nice about Marasaka Koi Farm is they breed a great variety of fish, especially the metallic koi. If we want metallic koi, we know where to find them. Here we see a bucket of kikasuis and a kikokuru. Here's an interesting bucket. We've got Kinkiatsuri, a Renji Ogon, Ki Kikokuru, a Ginrin Gin Matsuba, and a Deutz Renji Ogon. And here's another bucket with more of the metallics, but very interesting looking fish. And finally, that brings us to the last koi of our unboxing, and here's a 22-inch Deutsch Guhaku.
So we didn't actually buy this.
So this completes the unboxing of our 2021 koi from Japan, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and I'd like to thank you for watching.